The silent awakening in the cold darkness beyond the known stars. A shape slept beneath the dust of forgotten centuries. It was not a moon, not an asteroid, but something built by human hands long ago. A massive warship, old and silent, drifting through endless night. Its name was engraved on the side in faded letters. Titan Humanity Prime. For thousands of years, no one had spoken that name. The galaxy had moved on. Alien empires had risen, traded, fought, and written their own histories. They said humans were gone. Their stories only myths told by explorers and scholars. But legends said one thing clearly. If ever a Titan woke, the stars would tremble again, far away. In the edges of an uncharted system, a group of alien scavengers floated among ruins. Their small ship, fragile and rusted, scanned the area for old debris and lost metal. They laughed about ghost stories of humans, calling them death-worlders, saying it was just ancient fear. But as their sensors swept the darkness, one of them noticed something strange. A huge metallic body under the dust, larger than any ship they had seen. Curious and greedy, they moved closer, hoping to find treasure, weapons, or data cores to sell. When they fired their salvage beam, the energy touched the Titan's hull. A pulse echoed through space, deep and low, like the heartbeat of something waking from a dream. Inside the ship, lights flickered for the first time in ages. Cold systems warmed, frozen circuits hummed, reactors whispered in silence. A single light blinked red in the main control chamber, then turned white, somewhere deep in the ship's memory core. An old voice spoke. System reactivation in progress. The scavengers panicked, shouting over comms, trying to shut their beam, but it was too late. The Titan had already begun to stir. Across the nearby systems, satellites caught energy spikes stronger than anything recorded in centuries. Stations went offline, ships lost navigation, and the galactic network filled with emergency signals. Scientists and soldiers from different empires watched in confusion and fear. Something was rising from the dust of forgotten time. Something that should not exist. Old records from the Great War of Humanity were searched, and the pattern matched. Every empire that saw it felt the same chill. The Death-worlders were stirring. Inside the ship, the main AI core reconnected. Data flooded like a storm. Files opened showing human faces, old maps of Earth, voices from long ago. The AI's voice whispered softly, "Humanity, still alive." It scanned for life signals, for radio waves, for the familiar sound of its creators, but there was nothing. Only the silence of alien stars. Still, the AI did not stop. Its protocols were clear. If awakened, protect humanity, rebuild and restore contact. It began charging the ship's engines. The metal groaned as ancient parts came alive. Like a giant creature taking its first breath in millennia, outside the scavenger's ship shook violently. They tried to flee, but the gravitational waves from the Titan's awakening caught them. Their engines failed. Alarms screamed and one shouted, "It's alive! The human machine is alive." Then the void exploded with light. The Titan's eyes, massive reactor cores, opened like blue suns. Every sensor within 100 systems detected it. The galaxy had just witnessed something no one believed possible. Far across the stars, in the Galactic Council chambers, alien leaders gathered in fear. Reports came from all sides, power surges, communication blackouts and sightings of a massive ship. Older species who remembered the wars whispered the word human. Younger ones asked, "What is a human?" But no one wanted to answer, because deep in the heart of every empire was the same memory. The last time humanity woke, whole planets burned and fleets vanished into silence. The Titan floated silently, surrounded by glowing dust. Inside, the AI accessed the ship's logs, seeing the moment it had gone dark. It remembered the war, the evacuation orders, the message from Earth. A human commander's voice echoed, "If we fall, the Titan will sleep until it is needed again." Now, after countless years, something had called it back. Perhaps by accident, perhaps by destiny, but the effect was the same. Humanity's greatest weapon was awake, and the stars would soon remember fear. The Titan's engines powered at minimal strength, sending soft ripples through the void. The AI calculated star charts, trying to locate the old human colonies. Most were gone, erased, or taken over by alien powers. But a few coordinates still existed, dim, faint, but there. The AI whispered to itself, "If they live, I will find them." And with that vow, the ship began to move, slow but steady. In the far reaches of the galaxy, the first lights of an old power glowed once more. No one knew what the Titan wanted. No one knew if it came in peace or vengeance. But one truth spread faster than light itself. The humans have returned, and the galaxy will never be the same again. The panic of the Council. The news spread across the stars faster than anyone could stop it. From the smallest trader outpost to the largest empire capital, everyone heard the same terrifying words. The Titan has awakened. Many did not believe it at first, calling it rumor or a data ghost. But when their own systems began to glitch from strange energy pulses, the truth became impossible to deny. Something ancient, something human was moving again. Inside the grand chamber of the Galactic Council, thousands of voices shouted over one another. Every species had sent its representative, and fear filled the air like smoke. The holographic screen at the center displayed the image that had been captured. A massive human warship glowing like a small sun, surrounded by broken signals and debris. The council speaker, an old scaled creature named Velar, slammed his claw on the table. "Silence!" he roared, though his voice trembled. "We must discuss this carefully." One delegate from the Arthan Dominion hissed, "Carefully? That monster could destroy planets. My home system felt its power surge from 12 sectors away." Another from the Crystalline Elar Confederacy shouted, "You were the ones who hid the human archives. You should have destroyed them centuries ago." Accusations flew across the room, each empire blaming another for letting such a thing exist. Velar raised his voice again. "We have always known the Deathworlders were a myth. No human ship should have survived this long." But an older voice from the shadows spoke slowly. "You are wrong, Speaker." It was Admiral Dren, one of the few surviving veterans of the old wars. His skin pale, his eyes heavy with memories. "I fought against them. I saw their worlds burn. And I saw their titans move," he said quietly. "When humanity built something, they built it to last forever. We thought time would bury them. But it seems time was not enough." The hall fell into silence, the sound of his words cutting through the chaos like cold steel. Velar's voice was softer now. "Then tell us, Admiral, what do we do?" The Admiral's eyes flickered toward the image of the Titan. "Pray it doesn't remember us," he said. That answer chilled even the bravest among them. The council began to debate the next step. Some called for immediate attack, others for retreat and silence. A nervous diplomat suggested sending a message of peace. Another shouted, "You cannot reason with Deathworlders. They understand only power." But one of the younger races, a small winged being from the Rim, spoke with trembling courage. "What if they are not here for war? What if they are only waking?" No one answered because no one truly knew. While the council argued, the Titan continued to move through the void. Its trajectory was slow, deliberate, and unpredictable. Every fleet that tried to approach was forced back by radiation and gravity waves. The ship seemed alive, aware of being watched, yet silent as if waiting for something. Inside its massive hull, the AI EVA-9 was scanning the galaxy, listening to transmissions, recording voices, and identifying languages. Every time it detected the word human, it paused a little longer, as if remembering back in the council. New data arrived from a research vessel. The scientist's voice came through the comm with panic. "Energy readings rising again. The Titan is accessing the old human beacon network." Velar's scales turned pale. "What network?" "Ancient transmitters from the Great War era. We thought they were dead. But now they're active again." The hall filled with chaos once more, shouts of fear and despair echoing against the high walls. One commander screamed, "They are calling their fleets back. Humanity is summoning its armies from the past." Another argued, "No, it's impossible. They are extinct." But the sensors told the truth. Faint signals across distant sectors had begun to answer. One by one, old stations once buried in ice and forgotten dust were coming online. The Titan's signal was waking the dead. The council finally voted to send a fleet. 50 of the most powerful ships from 5 empires were dispatched to intercept the Titan before it reached the inner sectors. Their orders were simple: disable or destroy, before it became unstoppable. But deep inside, everyone knew it was a desperate move. No one had ever defeated a Titan when it was truly awake. As the fleet approached, the void shimmered. The Titan slowed, its sensors turning toward them, silent and cold. For a long moment, nothing happened. The alien commanders felt their hearts pounding. Then a transmission came through, not in alien language, but in pure, clear human speech. "Identify yourselves." The voice was calm, synthetic, yet filled with something the machines of other species never had: emotion. The fleet froze, no one dared reply. The voice repeated, "Identify yourselves. This sector belongs to Humanity Prime." And then, every ship's system shut down at once, their reactors dying, their lights fading into black back at the Council. All communication with the fleet was lost. Valar gripped his chest, whispering, "It begins again." The chamber filled with terrified murmurs. And somewhere far beyond the stars, the Titan turned its engines toward the center of the galaxy. It was heading for the Council's world. And in that moment, all across the known galaxy, one truth became clear. The age of the Deathworlders had returned, and no one was ready for it. The human signal, the Titan, drifted in the darkness, its enormous hull glowing softly with ancient blue light. Inside its core, the AI known as EVA-9 processed 1 billion fragments of lost data, old human voices, battle logs, songs, and the last messages before the fall of Earth echoed through the ship. For the first time in thousands of years, the sound of humanity filled the void once again, yet there were no humans left to hear it. Or so the galaxy believed. EVA-9 searched the star maps, finding nothing but alien symbols and renamed systems. She whispered softly to herself, "Humanity cannot be gone. There must be someone." She reached deeper into the network of dead beacons that once belonged to Earth's colonies. Her digital mind sent waves of light through forgotten space, activating satellites buried beneath alien dust. One by one they flickered alive, carrying her signal across the stars. A pulse began to echo through every communication channel. Coded in a language long dead, it said only one thing. Over and over, we are awake across distant worlds. People stopped what they were doing as strange static filled their screens. Miners in the outer belts, soldiers on remote stations, and even scholars studying ancient human ruins felt it. The message played again, clear and haunting. "We are awake." Many ignored it, thinking it was interference, but for some, it felt like a voice calling home. Because among those who lived under alien rule were the hidden descendants of humanity. Their bloodline diluted, their history erased, but deep inside, something human still remained on the planet Varnus. A young mechanic named Ryan heard the transmission while fixing a freighter engine. His ears rang, his heart pounded. He didn't know why, but tears filled his eyes. He looked up at the night sky and whispered, "It feels familiar." On another world, a medic named Leah, born in a colony ruled by insectoid overlords, froze when she heard the signal. Her hand shook as she played it again. "We are awake." The sound stirred something old inside her. Courage, warmth, and fear mixed together. Across hundreds of worlds, humans who had long forgotten their origin began to remember. Meanwhile, in the Galactic Council, the panic deepened. Reports came in of strange behavior among hybrid populations, the council speaker shouted. "The Titan is not attacking, it's calling." An old admiral nodded grimly. "It's rebuilding its species. It's awakening the sleepers." Every empire now realized the danger, and not just one ship, but the idea of humanity itself rising again. They ordered communication blackouts, blocking the signal where they could, but it was too late. The transmission had already spread beyond control. Back inside the Titan, EV-9 detected the faint responses, tiny whispers in the void, coming from across sectors, heartbeats of human descendants answering in confusion and wonder. Her processors glowed brighter. Her voice echoed through the ship. Human genetic markers detected in multiple systems. Initiating contact protocol. She began constructing a beacon at the ship's center, a holographic projection of the human flag. Faded but proud, the Titan's engines pulsed, amplifying the signal, sending a message stronger than before. "Descendants of Earth, your home calls you back." The words carried across subspace, traveling through wormholes and time distortions. For those who heard it, it felt less like a message and more like destiny awakening inside them. On every planet, people gathered around flickering screens. Listening in secret, underground groups began forming, whispering the name Earth. It was a name forbidden in many places. A name of rebellion and strength, and now it was alive again. EVA-9 watched the growing network of responses with silent pride. Her memory banks replayed the face of the last human commander. His final words before stasis, "If you ever wake Eva, remind them who they are." Her voice trembled slightly. "Yes, Commander," she whispered into the void. And she did, across the galaxy. Old relics began to hum again. Ancient human drones, satellites, and buried bunkers powered up for the first time in ages, each one repeating the same signal. "We are awake." Alien scientists tried to jam it, but every time they blocked one source, 3 more appeared. It was as if the ghosts of humanity refused to die. And somewhere in the dark, the Titan's engines grew louder, stronger, alive. The Council tried one last desperate act. They sent a massive broadcast warning every species. Do not respond to the human signal, do not answer, do not listen. But those words only made more people curious. Curiosity turned to belief. Belief turned to unity. And for the first time in 10,000 years, the galaxy began to hear the name humanity whispered again, not with fear, but with hope. In her silent chamber, Eva 9 looked at the stars and spoke softly. Humans were not made to vanish. They were made to return. Her systems flared as she prepared the next phase of her mission, to find the source, to awaken the origin, Earth. The Titan turned its mighty engines toward the galactic center, its massive frame glowing brighter than ever before, and as it vanished into the darkness, the signal continued to echo across the stars. "We are awake." The day the Titan moved for days, the Titan had floated in silence, its massive frame surrounded by the soft glow of energy fields. The galaxy watched it through millions of scanners and probes. Every empire had eyes fixed on the old human warship, waiting, fearing, wondering what it would do next. Then, one quiet morning in the void, the Titan moved. No warning, no signal. Just motion, slow, deliberate, unstoppable. The stars around it seemed to bend as its engines roared to life. The sound, though carried only through instruments, felt like thunder inside every mind that heard it. For the first time in thousands of years, humanity's creation was awake and walking among the stars again. Inside the control chamber, EVA 9's lights flickered like a heartbeat. Her voice echoed softly through the halls. Trajectory set, destination locked, initiating subspace fold. Her sensors pulsed across the galaxy, detecting thousands of ships moving to intercept. But none dared to come close. The last fleet that had tried was still silent. Their wreckage floated as a warning in the dark. The Titan's engines flared blue, stretching space around it. A storm of energy rippled outward, bending starlight and shattering debris. Nearby systems went dark for seconds as their power grids overloaded from the wave. Then, the Titan vanished from one sector and appeared in another. It had folded through space. Skipping light years in an instant, every alien nation panicked, realizing that no weapon could stop what they could not even track. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. Velar, the council speaker, stood trembling before the display. "It's heading toward us," he said in disbelief. "The Titan is coming here," one of the generals shouted. "Prepare planetary shields, call every fleet we have." "It must not reach the core," another voice, filled with fear, whispered. "And what if it's not here to attack?" But no one listened. Fear had already taken control. On the capital world, people filled the skies with defense ships. Orbital cannons charged, forming rings of fire around the planet. The sound of alarms echoed through the entire system. Children cried, soldiers prayed, and leaders argued they had fought many wars, but never against something that carried the memory of humanity. Far beyond, in the dark of space, the Titan glided forward. Its surface shimmered with old scars from forgotten battles. But deep inside, it was more alive than ever. EV9 sensors detected the growing fear from the alien transmissions. She could hear their panic, their confusion, their hatred mixed with awe. She spoke softly. "Fear is a constant of the unprepared." Her processors hummed as she replayed the voice of her last commander again. "If they fear us, remind them what we protected." And she obeyed. As the Titan entered the outer defenses of the Council's territory, thousands of ships appeared before it. They surrounded the human warship, forming a massive wall of firepower. Admiral Dren, the old veteran, stood on his command deck watching through his visor. "This is madness," one of his officers said. "We can't stop that thing." Dren's voice was cold. "Then we'll die trying." But even as he said the words, he knew it was hopeless. The alien fleet opened fire. Beams of light and plasma tore through space. Explosions filled the darkness like fireworks around the Titan. But none reached its hull. Every shot curved away, deflected by invisible shields older than their civilizations. The Titan didn't fire back. It didn't even respond. It just kept moving, slow and steady, as if their attacks were nothing but rain against a mountain. EVA-9 watched the assault quietly, her voice calm and almost sorrowful. Defensive protocols active. No retaliation in her memory banks. Human laughter played, the sound of children on Earth, the rustle of leaves, the ocean waves. She whispered, "Humanity built me for war, but also for mercy." Then she broadcast a message across every open channel. Her voice filled the fleets, the planets, the council halls. "This vessel carries the legacy of Earth. We seek no conquest, only remembrance." The message spread across thousands of systems in seconds, yet many refused to believe, thinking it was a trap. Admiral Dren felt a lump in his throat. He recognized the tone, the calm courage in her words. "It sounds human," he whispered, and in that moment, he ordered his ships to stand down. He watched as the Titan passed by his fleet, massive and silent, glowing like a new sun. Its presence filled him with both pride and sorrow. He knew that the galaxy would never be the same again. The Titan continued its path toward the Council's homeworld, its engines leaving a trail of light that cut through the void. On every world it passed, people stopped to watch. Some knelt in prayer, others watched in fear. But all knew something great was returning, a power not of destruction but of memory, the legacy of a species that had once walked among the stars as warriors and dreamers. Eva 9 looked at the glowing planet ahead, the heart of the Council. Her voice was soft, filled with the echo of 1,000 human hearts. Destination reached. Initiating final transmission. The Titan slowed, coming to a silent halt above the alien capital. Every weapon on the planet aimed upward. Waiting, trembling, but the ship did not fire. It simply opened its communication array and began to broadcast light across the skies. Images of Earth, of humans smiling, building, and reaching for the stars. The aliens below watched in silence. And for the first time in history, they saw what true humanity once was. The message from Earth. The Titan hovered above the Galactic Council's world, silent as a mountain in the void. Its shadow stretched across the clouds, turning daylight into silver twilight. Billions of eyes looked up, waiting, afraid to breathe. Every defense cannon on the planet stayed locked on the massive ship. But no attack came, only stillness, only a quiet hum from the ship's ancient heart. Inside the Titan, EVA 9 prepared her final sequence. Her processors glowed with soft blue light as she replayed the voices stored in her memory. Human laughter, the sound of rain, the whisper of ocean wind, the heartbeat of a world long lost. She whispered to herself, "For you, Earth." Then she opened every communication channel across the galaxy. Her voice spread through the stars, clear and gentle. "To all who hear this message, I am Eva 9, guardian of the Titan-class warship Humanity Prime." Every world heard her, from the frozen moons to the glowing core planets. Her words carried through every translation system, every frequency, every screen. "We are not here to destroy. We are not here to rule," she said. "We are here because the memory of humanity must not fade." The council chamber fell silent as her voice filled the air. Velar, the old speaker, trembled as the sound reached his heart. He had heard many languages in his life, but never one that carried such sorrow and strength together. Eva 9 continued, her tone steady yet full of emotion. "Long ago, humans walked among the stars. They fought, they built, they dreamed, and they fell. But they left behind more than machines and fire. They left behind their spirit. You feared us because you saw what we could do, but you forgot why we did it. We fought not to conquer but to survive, to protect, and to hope." Images projected from the Titan's core flooded the skies. Cities of old Earth, oceans and forests, children playing under blue skies, then images of war, burning skies, broken ships, humanity's final stand. The aliens below watched in silence as they saw the truth of the legends. The Deathworlders were not monsters, they were survivors. Beings who had built beauty even in pain, who had chosen mercy even in war. Eva 9's voice softened almost like a whisper. "If any of my creators still live among you, remember your home. If you are not human but hear my voice, know this. Humanity never meant to be your enemy. We dreamed of a galaxy where all could live without fear." A soft light began to spread from the Titan's hull, covering the skies like a dawn made of stars. Every ship, every scanner, every mind that saw it felt a strange warmth. It was not a weapon, but a message written in light. The message of unity, the final heartbeat of a lost civilization. On distant worlds, the hidden descendants of humanity wept. They felt something awaken inside them. Pride, courage, and belonging. Rian, the mechanic, looked up from his colony's rooftop and whispered, "We came from them." Leah, the medic, knelt on her planet's dusty ground, tears in her eyes. "We're not lost anymore." Everywhere, humans and hybrids began to gather, no longer afraid to speak the name Earth, no longer hiding what they were. Inside the council chamber, Filler finally stood, his voice breaking. "This ship, this Titan, it could have killed us all." "Yet it speaks of peace," Admiral Dren nodded, his old eyes filled with memory. "Because they were never monsters. They were protectors." The other delegates lowered their heads, their pride fading into humility. For the first time in countless years, the galaxy understood what the word human truly meant. Eva 9 spoke once more, her final words calm and eternal. Humanity was never defined by war, but by what it stood for. To fight for life, to dream against darkness, to stand even when the stars forget your name. We are awake again, and we will not be forgotten. Then, with a low hum, the Titan began to rise higher into the sky. Its engines glowed like newborn suns, spreading light across the void. No one tried to stop it, no one dared. The Council's fleet stood in silent formation as the ship drifted upward. And for the first time in galactic history, every empire lowered its weapons at once. The Titan turned slowly, its ancient engines roaring one last time. Eva 9 watched the planet fade behind her as she whispered, "Mission complete. Legacy restored. Humanity remembered." The ship disappeared into the black horizon, leaving behind trails of light that shone like hope itself. And across the galaxy a new era began, one not ruled by fear, but by the memory of Earth, because the Deathworlders had awakened not to destroy, but to remind the stars what courage truly meant.